Hello, and welcome to What is Crypto? I'm Matt, and this is Crypto. Today I'm going to be talking to you about Casper and just how much Casper you should have in your portfolio. This is a question that gets asked a lot, and while there is no one answer, I'm going to have a little bit of a look at just how you might structure your portfolio and just how Casper might fit in. So if that sounds like it could be for you, then smash that like button, drop a comment down below, and subscribe to the channel. Cheers, legends. Let's get into it. Alrighty, so Casper, firstly, let's have a look at it on the chart. So Casper, we've had a little bit of a retracement from our 13 cents a couple of days ago, but once again, that is because Bitcoin has been having a retracement itself. If you're not familiar with the crypto markets, largely everything follows Bitcoin, bar a few outliers, but everything really follows Bitcoin, and Bitcoin over the last couple of days has been red. So business as usual, Casper has had a small retracement, but that is in line with Bitcoin. So what I see at the moment is that we have a huge amount of strength at around this 11 cent mark, going all the way down to the low 10 cent mark. I don't think we're going to retrace that far. However, if Bitcoin does decide to have a pretty bad day, the markets dump and we do wick down to the 57k mark, then I think Casper could potentially get into that zone. I've got a couple of buy orders set in there, and that is just in case Casper does drop into these pretty attractive buy prices. But that's not why we're here today. Today we're here to talk about just how much Casper you should have in your portfolio. I'm not a financial advisor. This is just my thoughts on the market and just how a portfolio consisting of Casper might look. So the first portfolio I've created consists of about a 30% Casper. Now, I think largely a 30% allocation to Casper is probably a decent range to look at. I know some people have significantly higher amounts allocated to Casper. I personally have around 33% Casper allocation, and I think anywhere between that 20 and 40% is probably a pretty decent place to start. Now, as bullish as I am on Casper, I don't want to miss out on some other sectors, and that's why not all of my money is in Casper. So I think in a good portfolio, you should have exposure to Casper, but you should also have exposure to some layer ones. Now, I've got Say in here, but some other ones that you could include are Solana, although I see the upside of Solana being limited compared to Say, Sui, SUI, similar boat to Say. I think they've probably both got a similar upside. They're not as big as the Solana or Avalanche, which is another one that you could add in there. I personally have Say, and I think layer ones excluding Casper, an allocation of around 20% is probably a decent place to start. Then I go down to AI cryptos. Now with AI, I think it's going to be one of the strongest performers this year. So I've just listed down 4 AI cryptos that I'm really bullish on. GPU is probably my favorite risk reward. I've also got Balance AI, Based AI, and Tau. Tau or BitTensor Tau is the lowest risk of all of these with the highest market cap, so consequently it likely has the lowest upside potential. But I think if you're wanting to play on the safe side, Tau. And then I think the next 2 safest ones are GPU and Based AI, and I think Balance AI is the most risky one there, but it does once again have the lowest market cap. But anyway, I think AI, 20% allocation to AI is where I am at the moment. Now with gaming, it's my next highest allocation, and although gaming hasn't been doing really well, I see this as potentially an upside. Now, gaming was the first narrative to run. If you've been in crypto over a year, you'd remember that last year gaming had a massive bull run. So I'll have a quick look at some of the charts from some of the big gaming projects, such as Myria. Last year, Myria ripped from around the 0.002 all the way up to 0.014. So that's around a 7x approximately. Now, gaming was pretty consistent with that, and a lot of gaming projects had massive run-ups. So for me, there has been a proof of concept of the strength of gaming, and I think that we will see another flow into gaming. And although AI might run next, because we do have the Nvidia earnings coming up, I think that one of the next narratives to run will be gaming. So for me, around the 15% to gaming is where I'm allocating. So for your last 2, I've got stablecoins at 10%. Now I think having some allocation to stablecoins is good, as when the market dips, it allows you to allocate more heavily into cryptos on discounts. If you had a lot of stablecoins on the sidelines for this most recent dip, you could have got some pretty attractive buy prices. It also lets you set limit orders, and what I mean by that is setting a buy order at a price lower than the crypto is trading at. So that way, if you're bullish on a project and the price does drop, it's kind of a win for you as you get to accumulate more at a really good price. So if the price does drop, your order gets filled and you get more of that crypto at a great price. And if the price increases, well, you've already got some some allocation to that. So it never hurts to have some more stablecoins on the side. So I think 10% allocation to stablecoins is pretty good. And you could even increase that. Some people have around a 30% allocation to stablecoins. Now, I do want to say that I've omitted Bitcoin and Ethereum from this, as I figure my target audience isn't large whales that have hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars. If you've got hundreds of thousands of dollars, well, that's great. And if you've got millions of dollars, well, that's awesome. If you've got millions, I would definitely add Bitcoin into this, and Bitcoin could take up to half of your portfolio. But if you do have a portfolio that is under 100,000, then I think having a large allocation to Bitcoin is really only going to net you in this bull run maybe a 3 or 4x, and that's the most bullish case that I can really imagine. Realistically, it might net you a 1 to 2x on your money. And while that's nothing to be sneezed at, and in other markets that would be seen as amazing gains over a 12-month period, that's not why we're in crypto, and that's probably not why you're watching this video. I then have lastly my smallest allocation to other cryptos. So in that, I've got real world assets, which I've allocated to NXRA. Now, I haven't covered NXRA in a video, but I will make one on it soon. Other great projects that you could add are Ondo Finance. I've also got Index. Now, Index is a crypto that I have covered. Watch my video on it. I think it's a really cool project. And in essence, it's a Coinbase-backed project that allows index fund for cryptos, with the thesis being that new money will flow into Coinbase. I call it new money, but it's really old money. They might stick to things they understand, and index funds, which is in essence just buying a basket of cryptos under one index, is something that I can see taking off. So Index, super low market cap, and I think that is a decent project. In that other allocation between the 5 and 10%, you could have other low cap cryptos and other high risk plays. Now, this is just one way that you could allocate your portfolio. I've seen people with Casper portfolios of 1%, and I've seen people with Casper portfolios of 100%. Also, drop down to the comments and let me know just what your Casper allocation is. 1, I'd love to see you in the comments section, and 2, I'm actually really interested to know just how much Casper you're holding. It doesn't necessarily need to be the amount of Casper, but the percentage of your portfolio. Now, this is just one way of structuring a portfolio. Another way, if you wanted to go super risk averse and pretty heavy on Casper, would be to have your RWAs such as Ondo and NXRA making up 20%, Casper 40%, AI 10%, and only focusing on GPU and Tau, the safer ones there. And in gaming, only going 10% and focusing on NACA and Beam. Then also having 20% reserved for stablecoins for spot entries at better prices. Another way to structure it, if you had a lot of money and wanted a very risk-off approach, would be to have 40% in Bitcoin, 20% in Casper, 20% in RWAs, especially Ondo, and then 10% allocation to AI and gaming. And one last final way you could look at structuring your portfolio would be having a large allocation to Casper and then splitting up the rest of the allocation between AI, gaming, RWAs, DeepIn, and meme coins. Really, it depends on how risk on or risk off you want to be, with Bitcoin being the safest asset, followed by the largest layer ones, such as Solana, Avalanche. The next rung down of risk for me is Kaspa, Say, Sui, all of those layer 1 type cryptos, with Casper for me being the safest of those. I think that an allocation of over 40% to Casper might be too high, and I think that an allocation of Casper under 20% in your portfolio might be too low. Really, it all comes down to you and what you're comfortable with. At the end of the day, the portfolio that works best for you will be the one that nets you an amount of money that you're happy with and doesn't cause you to lose sleep at night. It also really depends on how much money you have. The more money you have, you might be happy with between a 2 and 5x over the course of this bull run. And if that's the case, then having a massive allocation to Bitcoin, Ethereum might be a decent play for you. If you don't have much money, then having a higher allocation to lower market caps, with Casper being your safety net, could be the play for you as well. Now, I have missed off some other projects in here that I am really bullish on. For example, Aerodrome. You could add this into the other section, or you could slightly tweak the size of some of these other cryptos. For example, you could drop Say down to 10%, and you could have Aerodrome in there as 5% and increase your AI exposure by 5%. Now, this is just one way to structure your portfolio. I've gone pretty simple here while still gaining exposure to multiple narratives. I don't think you need exposure to every single narrative, and I think if you are chasing narratives constantly, you might end up chasing your tail and buying the local tops. Me personally, my biggest exposures are to layer 1s, gaming, AI, and of course Casper. Anything else outside of those niches I dabble in. I dabble in meme coins, I dabble in other projects, projects, but those four are my bread and butter. That's what I understand and that's what I know and research most often. Awesome. So that'll wrap it up for today. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll be dropping Casper content on the regular and just also content on crypto in general. Thank you so much, legends. I appreciate it. I appreciate you, and I'll catch you in the next one.